Welcome everyone. My name is Tracy Murphy Poxtis and this is Good to Great in Under 8, the weekly show for motivated professionals who want to start having greater business impact and more career fulfillment. So let's be real, guys. We all know that there are certain conversations that we dread, right? Whether it's telling a direct report that they didn't meet expectations, whether it's telling your boss that a project they promised the CEO was going to be late, or telling a colleague that their behavior in a meeting was demotivating to the team. Right? We dread all these types of conversations, and because they're difficult, right? They create stress and anxiety for us. And when that happens, we start thinking about a lot of different things, like maybe the last time I had this conversation, it didn't go so well. Or, I'm worried that if I have the conversation, it's going to hurt the relationship or make matters actually worse. But guys, having the difficult conversations is one of the key things that we all need to be able to do and do effectively if we want to grow professionally and really advance our careers. So today I want to share with you 5 questions that you can ask yourself to help really get you ready and prepared for these conversations. So the first and probably most important question to ask yourself is, what do you really hope to accomplish by having the conversation, right? What's the purpose of having the conversation? And then kind of sub to that is, how beneficial is that purpose? So for example, if your purpose of having a conversation is just to tell someone, right, that they're wrong and that they need to change, well, the outcome might not necessarily be so great. Versus if your purpose is to really understand maybe what caused someone to react negatively in a meeting and then share with them the impact that their behavior had on the team. Right? If that's the purpose, things might go a little bit better. But the key thing to really keep in mind here, guys, is try to develop a purpose that is supportive and that allows for growth in both people and the business. Then the second question to ask yourself is, what stories are you telling yourself about the other person or the situation that might not necessarily be true? Right? Because oftentimes we tell ourselves stories about people or situations that aren't true. And because of that, we show up in a really negative way. So a couple stories that people tell themselves, myself included, that aren't typically true is that the other person isn't open to feedback, or that they can't share feedback with another person because they know it'll make them feel bad. And going into the difficult conversations, right, with those type of stories going through your mind really changes your tone and how you actually approach that situation. So try and get rid of those stories as much as you can. Then the third question to ask yourself is, how might you be overreacting to the situation? Right? Because if you can reduce any emotional charge that you might have going into that conversation, it's really going to yield a much better outcome. Right? And let's face it, we can all get emotionally charged. Many of us are really passionate about what we do. So reducing that emotional charge and getting smart about understanding what charge you have is really a key factor. Then that fourth question to ask yourself is, now we're going to kind of flip it around a little bit here, is what stories or assumptions might the other person have, and how could that impact how they might receive your message? Right? So again, the idea behind this question is really flipping it around and looking at things from the other person's point of view so that you can account for those things right in your approach. And then the last question to ask yourself is, based on your answers to the prior 4 questions, what's really the best approach, right? How should you really plan to have this conversation? Right? So because you asked yourself these questions, you now have a lot more information and you should be less emotionally charged, which really puts you in a great place so that you can really work through your approach to that conversation. So guys, if you ask yourselves these 5 questions and really take the time to think about it, your stress and anxiety around these conversations is definitely going to go down. And when that happens, it frees up so much of your energy to be more productive in so many other ways. So if you're someone who is grappling with having a difficult conversation now, reach out to me, email me at tracy@tracymurphycoaching.com, and we'll get a conversation started. So that's it for today, guys. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next time.